Welcome to another From Around Mijas live stream. Oh, I'm on twice here. Hi, Mario. Welcome back.
Hello, Bill. Hi. Hello.
We we had the joy, the pleasure, the delight of the November council meeting yesterday, Mario.
Correct. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. Apart from the insults starting to sort of pass back and forward again. It's been a sort of interesting things coming out, Mario, aren't there? From what's actually happening
Yes,
in
well, there
Mijas.
was something that called my attention. They don't read the papers they bring to the Pleno. That is usual. That has been the same for years. But what they do is to check things that we did in 2014, 2015. They print the newspapers of those time and they bring that underlined. It seems that they really work hard to see what we did, but only to criticize, not to copy nor to improve it. And
Yeah,
apparently, the councillors of the government met together before to agree about something. They have decided now to criticize us for the amount of money that we are paid. I don't know what else they want us to do. We bring a lot of proposals every meeting. They are always disregarded, even without being discussed. So they stop the discussion. They don't allow the discussion. They reject the inclusion in the agenda. No matter how many times we make proposals, they are always refused,
mhm,
disregarded. And now they have started to criticize that we are paid, and I don't know what else they want to do. Perhaps they want us to clap our hands when we go to that meeting. But I was really worried about the information that they gave along that pleno, because you know that by law, every 3 months, the internal auditor, which we call interventor, he has
mhm.
to produce a report with figures. It is
Yeah,
not pictures, it is not opinions, it is numbers. Numbers that do not admit any opinions or idea, they are facts. And the
no, the,
facts that
the
we were
numbers are the
given,
numbers, Mario. Yeah, numbers are numbers.
correct, the numbers they gave us in that meeting were terrible for the present and near future of Mijas. And if you want to, we can go into detail later.
Yeah, I think that would be useful to do, Mario, because really, I'm a bit stupid with numbers. I mean, I know that you live with numbers. I can be a bit
Mhm.
stupid until someone actually explains them to me. And what I was shown yesterday shocked me.
Yes?
In terms of what has happened to this wonderful surplus, or what is going to happen to this wonderful surplus that we had in Mijas.
Correct.
Uh, but
I,
anything else, Mario? Before we sort of talk about that, things that were actually in the council meeting yesterday.
well, there was also something else. There is some information that the town hall has to supply every year. For example, the number of square meters that we have of gardens or asphalted, number of schools, and for example, number of lights, street lights.
Street
And
lights, yeah.
according to that report, there are, let me check it, 15,650. That means
Okay.
15,650 bulbs. That could be, perhaps you can see a street light with 3 or 4 bulbs, or just a single one. And you may have heard me repeating something. There are 3 street lights in the whole of Mijas. The government has removed 3 street lights. Why those 3? Possibly because they were the only ones solar powered. So they were the only 3 street lights in Mijas that do not use any electricity. And possibly
Right.
they thought, well, that can continue like that. We need to spend money. So what did they
Yeah.
do? They removed those 3 solar street lights. And what has happened after? Those lights were fitted by the Popular Party. That means before 2015, and they had been shining more or less every day. However, they have now removed those lights. and the road is completely dark. So two cars have already gone into the valley because that part of road, which is hardly 1,000 meters, is completely dark. And that road
Right.
is very much used by people, not only by me. I have a
Yeah.
very good car with very good lights. I know the way. I have been driving there for many years. It is not my problem. It doesn't affect me personally. But I
No.
see hundreds of people every day going through that road, and it is annoying that the only three lights in Mijas that do not use electricity has been removed by this counselor just for fun, just because he has nothing better to do. And that is really annoying. I know that they criticize me. They believe that those three street lights are in front of my house. That is a complete lie. My house is much more above that road. I don't need those lights for myself, but I have seen two cars falling down into the valley, and I don't want that to happen. It doesn't matter whether they are my friends, my neighbors, or unknown people. I don't want that accident to happen, and I cannot understand why someone who is paid to improve the quality of the neighborhood has decided to remove those three lights and do nothing, and
Mm.
still is proud of his action.
Yeah.
That I cannot understand. Sorry.
Yeah, but they seem to have this thing that you only want this sorted because it's in the area that you live and a road that you use, and it's nothing to do with that, Mario.
Yes, the other 15,650 street lights have not been removed. Some
No.
of them could be off. They may replace the bulb in one day or in one month because they are very, very lazy at that respect. But the street light is still there. There are only three that they have removed. The whole post. You can only see the screws at the floor and the concrete platform. And nobody understands why. And yesterday they were very proud of having changed 50 street lights, all models for
Yeah.
new one. Fine, but you have removed three, and that road is now completely dark, and two cars have already fallen down. It is not something that I imagine. I have
No.
seen it. Thank God, those two drivers have not had any major damage, and they were able to get out by themselves. But the cars were completely destroyed. We don't need that. Why did they remove the lights? I think they
No.
removed them by mistake, and they don't want to recognize it is a mistake. But during the
Right.
year that has gone by, people are suffering the effect of their mistake. And that is
Sure.
what I am going to criticize at every single meeting in the town hall until they do something, or until
Right.
they are removed from their position and someone who worries about people does something.
Yeah. Now, Mario, you are an economist. You understand numbers and money and things like that. Uh,
Mhm.
I, I I can be a bit thick about these things sometimes, but it's been very difficult, or maybe just for me, to keep track of what our current government and Mijas are actually spending and where the money is going and what the sums look like, because I'm interested really in the end numbers, not all the bits in between.
Correct. And let's start from one of the first points in the agenda of the monthly meeting. This counselor who is very proud of himself and is the one who has removed those three street lights, where was bringing to the monthly meeting a lot of invoices, a lot of them. Why are those invoices coming to the pleno? Because they have a fault. That means that the money has been spent without a contract, so they are not good, and that's
Yeah,
why they come to the meeting. And I only made a question. They were 363 pages. And I simply asked, how much is it? And he didn't know because he doesn't care at all. He didn't know how many invoices he was bringing to the Pleno. As he knows that the socialists and themselves will vote yes, and that will be 13 out of 25, so they don't care about us. He spent more money telling us that we are being paid 50% of what they are earning rather than explaining to everybody who pays their wage where he is spending all that money. It could
sure.
be hundreds of thousands of euros, spent without any kind of control. And he was still laughing and smiling during all the meeting. That is a disaster. And that disaster is not only an opinion, it is reflected in those reports that were published later by this general auditor, starting with the time to pay the invoices. You and everybody who watch our program may know that the town hall have 30 days to check an invoice. When you get an invoice, you have to check that the work has been done or the products have been delivered. And then the law gives another 30 days, which is more than enough. Don't forget that Mijas Town Hall has about 1,000 employees and a lot of computers and very professional accounting programs. So to check an invoice and pay it should be very easy and should be very quick. Well, at the end of September, the 30th of September, the town hall was owing 10 million euros. 5 million were still in the term of those 30 days, but another 5 million had more than 30 days after the invoice was checked. Why is that if we have plenty of money? Simply because someone is not doing his job properly. But that is not all. There was another report from the general auditor that says that we have to increase the wage of the employees a further 2%. Because of the rate of inflation, they are going to raise the wage of the employees. They did it 1.5% at the beginning of the year, and now another 2%. €500,000. And do you know where they are getting that money from? From our piggy bank, from the 500,000 euros that all town hall must have by law as a contingency fund in case that there is a flood or an earthquake, a big fire, something like that. And they have decided to spend that. And that takes you and me and everybody to make a question. If they are breaking the piggy bank for those €500,000, what has happened with the 100 million that we had before? And that question, unfortunately, was not answered. But I can give you an answer. That money has been already committed to do big things. This big park by the river, in an area which is below the level of water, and nobody in his own mind would ever authorize a park there, and some other buildings, and also in an underground parking, which is going to cost 70,000 euros per place. 70,000. If you open the newspaper today, you will see that there are parking places for sale between 10 and 20,000 euros, depending whether the area is very crowded or not. The town hall is going to spend 72,000 euros for each parking space, and they don't care, and they don't bother. So all the 100 million that we had saved has already been committed. It has not been paid, but it has been committed, including, for example, 5 million euros for the 3 days music concert that we are having in La Cala. They have committed for 5 years, 1 million euros per year, and all that money is going to be spent, come rain or come shine.
Yeah. But there was a document which really sort of did all the pluses and minuses, Maria. I think I might be able to share this here. And this was what I found quite shocking. Yeah. This document here, I don't know if people will be able to read it, but it's talking about the financial stability of the council, and it's looked at all the money that they spent and all the money that they've committed, as you said. And what it comes down to here is
minus 5 million.
Minus 5 million euros. So we've gone from 120 million in surplus to 5 million or 5.5 million in debt, and really in the space of a year or 18 months.
I could give you a lot of explanations, but I think your summary is very clear and very short. We have gone from plus 100 to minus 5. And it is not your opinion nor mine. It is there. It is written black on white. And it is that
And
that amount is not only included in that report from this general auditor. That figure has been reported to the authorities, and you can watch it in several websites organized by the government of Spain, where you can
right,
check the economical situation of each city, municipality in Spain. Yes, that
right,
is true. That is a fact. Minus 5 million euros, correct?
yeah. But I mean, it's mind blowing, Mario, because people are still complaining about the same things. People are still complaining about potholes in their roads. People are still complaining about the areas that are fire hazards that nothing is being done about. People are still complaining. I don't know about the rubbish collection. We've spent 100 million euros or 125 million euros or committed that, and people don't seem to be happy. Even to today, it's a small thing, but a big thing at the same time. All in La Cala, they're putting all these lovely poinsettia flowers in, uh,
Mhm.
and and people are saying, so what about Riviera? And what about Calonda? And what about all these other areas? We pay our taxes too. We have frankly blown 125 million euros, and people are still not happy about what they're getting for their taxes.
Correct. And it is not because people are always demanding. It is because the money has not been spent in the things that people really need. And I
No.
can give you several samples. For example, 2 years ago, they decided to extend the sport area here in Las Lagunas. They did it wrongly. They gave it not only to the cheapest company, which by law they have to do it, but they gave it to a company that had no money in their bank to afford the works. So as
Right.
soon as they realized that they had to buy the products in advance to make the buildings, they stopped the works. So the work has been frozen for more than 2 years. They were renting cars for the policemen. They decided to go to a company after 4 years, which is the time the law gives them to change the rental contract. They went
Yeah.
to a company in the Basque country. That company has been created few months before. That company had no means to get those cars produced in whichever factory anywhere in the world and to
No.
have the equipment. So they had to continue with the old cars, and then they rented some other cars second-hand, very expensive but very old. So it is all money wasted, money thrown
Yeah.
away. In the monthly meeting, there are questions at the end of the meeting, which we always make, and they always reply, nothing to do with the question. So in that meeting, I asked for a fine of 200,000 euros that they put to the town hall because they paid the social security late.
Yeah.
Some of you have a company or are self-employed. If you don't pay the social security in time at the end of the month, you have a 20% fine. If you know that you don't have money and you are going to be late, you can ask for an extension and then they charge you only five. The town hall didn't bother. They simply paid it few days after, and 20%, that is 200,000 euros. The town hall pays 1 million euros every year, sorry, every month
Every
for
month.
the for the 1,000 employees. So they are stupid and they appealed. The law is very clear. You are late, 20%. So we had to pay 1,000 euros in legal costs for that stupid appeal. That was not enough. They appealed of a second time. The town hall had to pay 1,500 euros for this second appeal. It is very easy. The law has few lines. If you are late, 20%. You can read it several times. You can even take it to bed and think about that the day after.
But it
If you are
doesn't change.
late, 20%. 20% if you are late. 20% if it is 1 million euros. 20% is about 200,000 euros. By the way, it is 5 years ago, and they have done nothing to find out who was responsible for that. Because in
Right.
your business or in mine, if someone makes a mistake, and we all eventually make mistakes, we pay for our own mistakes. The fact that someone in the town hall did a mistake, and believe me, they are very well paid, and nobody has even wondered why that mistake took place, because
Yeah,
sometimes people have an insurance. We all have insurances in case we make mistakes. For example, if we don't stop our car in time and we damage something else, our insurance will pay for those damages. They have let the time go. They don't want to find out who decided not to pay that bill in time. And believe
right.
me, we have 1,000 employees in the town hall. We have a lot of systems to control the bills and to know there were a lot of red lights shining during
Sure.
those 3 days at the end of September 2017. And everybody, or not everybody, those who are in charge of that system decided to look somewhere else. And they only reacted when it was late. I would
Mm,
like those people to be named and shamed. If
yeah,
we all, if the 80,000, 90,000 now citizens of Mijas have to pay for those 200,000 euros, at least I would expect someone to say, sorry, I
yes.
fuck it, sorry, excuse me, it will never happen again. No, no,
Yeah,
they simply decide not to talk about it, thinking that we may forget. And we never forget.
no. But the thing is, Mario, there's a whole series. I mean, there was almost 500,000 in fines to do with these paddle tournaments and using um, staff wrongly for the servicios complementarios.
Comentarios.
And so
Correct.
there was the big fines there, big fine here. But what I'm seeing here, Mario, is that they came into government in 2019 by the back door with 120 million surplus. That surplus remained for quite a long time, whether it was 120 million all the time or 100 million, but a lot of money in surplus. And now, if there is a change of government next year in May after the elections, which we
Mhm.
hope there will be, we're going to be starting off 5 million in debt.
Well, not only that, I'm afraid the problems will be more because there are thousands of invoices not accounted. That is our fear. When we arrived in 2011, there were some invoices to be paid. They were written, registered, everybody knew that. There were loans to be paid to the bank. Everything was very clear. But there were several million euros for expropriations that the town hall had done but not paid. So
Right.
the town hall decided to expropriate several plots of land, which they can do for a park or for a parking or for a road, which is
Road, yeah.
fine, but you have to pay for that. If you don't pay for that and you don't even account the debt, whoever comes later will find an owner or many owners unhappy because they are waiting for their money, and you will find a hole in the budget. That will probably happen again. They
Yeah.
have started, they are starting now this Camino de Campanales works. Everybody may know where Venta La Morena is. They are
Yeah.
going to make there a big roundabout and eventually a bridge to cross over to the other side of the river, where they want to make this parking a sinkable area. Some of those lands have already been expropriated and not paid. Fine, but at least that should be accounted. And I haven't seen a list of payments to be done.
Yeah.
All that is still pending and will have to be paid eventually by whoever comes after them.
But Maria, they're also making it very hard to track down what they're doing and what's been agreed. Maybe it's just me, but these 100 documents, some of them are hundreds of pages long that get sent to us a day or 2 days before the plenos. Now maybe everything is in there. I don't know. I mean, I can't possibly get through that amount of paperwork which they send to us, but we just don't seem to know what they're doing, what the contracts are for things, what they've agreed with suppliers. That was asked at the council meeting, and basically we just got told, if you don't know where to look for it, that's your problem.
That's your problem because they don't even know what they are talking about. The Counselor of Economy and Taxes brings a bunch of invoices to every pleno. He doesn't know what he's bringing. He just say these are the invoices and they have to be paid because the work has been done or the products have been delivered, but he doesn't know where or why. And again, it is not only our opinion, it is not only the opinion of this internal general auditor. We have in Andalusia an organization called Cámara de Cuentas,
Yeah.
Chamber of Accounts. And they don't check all the town halls every year, but eventually they check some town halls when there is something that calls their attention.
Yeah.
And they have checked Mijas Town Hall for the year 2019 in two areas, the areas of employees and the area of contracts. They have found a lot of mistakes in the employees' areas, and they have given some recommendations to amend it. But regarding the contracts, they simply say it is a disaster, that there are 20 million euros paid for services when the contracts were already expired. When a contract expires, you cannot keep paying for a service or for a product because you need to pay that on a written document. So you need a contract. If you make it only a verbal agreement, that is not valid with public money. It could be valid between you and your carpenter in your house or your painter, but a town hall cannot do that. And the
No.
Chamber of Accounts says there are 22 million euros paid along 3 years for the cleaning of the streets without this contract, and someone could be liable for that. The Chamber of Accounts, they don't act. They simply say there could be a expenditure of the money.
Right.
Why? Because it is serious to take the money and run away. But
Yeah.
is it the same as serious as wasting the money of someone else? You don't need to take it to be committing a crime. If you spend your money wrongly, you are committing a crime.
Yeah.
As serious as if you take the money yourself. And this is what the Chamber of Accounts in Andalusia has said about the government that we have now.
Right.
And they don't seem to care. Their only explanation is that it was a long time ago. It was 2019, and the report was published 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And they simply say it is too old, it is something old. The town hall has spent 30 million euros during the year 2021 wrongly, out of control.
Yeah.
All of that has been reported by this general auditor. This is a tremendous amount of money. We all can understand that a wooden handrail breaks and you buy the wood in any shop that is open that day because you consider it is dangerous and you cannot wait until the day after. Correct? We all
Sure.
accept that. But 30 millions on the 50 that the town hall has spent, excluding the other 50 for the wages of employees and social security, that is 60%.
Yeah.
So that you are spending the money wrongly 60% of the times,
Yeah.
when it is your third year in government and you have a lot of experience and power and knowledge, that is unacceptable.
Yeah. And if people don't understand the problem with things operating, services being provided without contracts, it is the case that these contracts have to be renewed and go out to public tender when the previous one expires.
Correct.
And if they just extend these contracts, that means that other businesses, other companies that might be interested in providing these services and maybe even providing them cheaper, who knows, don't get the opportunity to tender for these services.
That, that, that is the question. That's why the law forced the town hall to put to put all the contracts for tender every certain number of years. Why?
Sure.
Because sometimes, for example, cleaning of the streets. Many years ago, we had someone sweeping the streets. Now we have very nice machines that make 10 times the work of a person.
Yeah.
So organizing the job properly, you are able to do it cheaper.
Sure.
The law says you have to publish this offer every 4 years, or every 3, or every 5, depending on the service. If you don't do it, you are continuing with a supplier that perhaps is now more expensive than others. But even if it is the same price, others have also should have the opportunity to work for the town hall. You failing to put that for tender, you are not only breaking the law, you are also restricting the offers of
Yeah,
companies that may have to close and disappear because they are not given the opportunity as the law says. That is another problem which is there, which
yeah,
exists there every day.
yeah. Um, is there anything else you want to just highlight from the council meeting, Mario? Or it was a kind of content-free council meeting in many ways yesterday.
Yes, there were only these bunches of invoices as usual. We also agreed about something regarding mental health,
Right.
even though that is not a business of the town hall. We have no power at that time, but at least we approved something in common, which was a request to the regional government and to the national government, because it is true that the mental health is becoming a problem that we all have realized during the pandemic. We have
Sure.
been given 2 years to think more than usual, and some people have not been able to continue their life properly, and they have started to suffer those restrictions. And in the same way we are taking care of our bodies, we should also take care of our minds. And
Yeah.
mental health is also important. So, for the first time in many years, we all agreed about a text, and which I said doesn't have a real impact on the people of Mijas in the short term, but at least we have shown our common will to pay more attention and perhaps more money to
Yeah.
this kind of problems. And I think that was positive. I should not forget to mention that about that meeting.
Okay, Mario, just for anyone who hasn't caught up, as from today, and I'm talking about British and Norwegian here, not EU residents here in Spain, but British, Norwegian residents and one or two other countries should have been able to go in and register onto the voters' roll from the 1st of December. It's what the boy said. And just to put it to the test, I went there 9:15 this morning and said, "Can I register?" And I am not I'm not giving a hard time to the ladies that I spoke to down there. They just said, "We don't know." It doesn't seem to have been very well organized. We've known since September that this has been coming along,
Well,
and the
not
day has arrived, and councils don't know what they're supposed to do.
not only in September, while national elections can be whenever the president of the government decides, local elections are always the fourth Sunday of May every 4 years.
Yeah,
So since 1979, we all know that the next election will be the 28th of May 2023. So
right.
we have had 44 years to think about that. 44 years. So it
Yeah,
is not only since September, it is 44 years. Let me explain something. We, the Spaniards, as long as we are in the Padrón and we are above 18 years of age, we are automatically included in the censo. The censo is the list of people that can vote. The
yeah,
Padrón is the list of people that live in Mijas. The difference is that the Padrón includes everybody, no matter the age, so it includes everybody below 18 years of age, and also includes all the 193 nationalities in the world, including the Vatican State. So if they want to vote, whenever there is a local election, the Spaniards can vote, and then you have, let's say, three groups of countries. Those who are in the European Union, those that have a contract, an agreement with Spain, and there is a third group, including, well, formed by Norway and the United Kingdom, that they can vote in the local elections, but only if they can prove that they have been living here for 3 years.
Yes.
And the expression living here or residing here in Spain, it is not very clear because you have the tax resident, the police residents, the administrative residents. So the concept is very ambiguous. So we have these three groups. These three groups have to show, to express their will to vote in Spain in the local elections. How
Yeah.
do they do that? They can wait at home to get a letter from the INE, the National Statistic Institute. I know that those letters are sent. I also know that those letters are hardly delivered. Why? Because in many cases the address are wrongly and they don't pay too much attention trying to get those letters delivered. If you get that letter, you can either fill it in and give it back to any mailbox for free. You will get a code that allows you to go to internet and do it. But also you can go to the town hall and say, hi, I would like to vote in the next local elections. And the town hall can do two things. One is to say, yes, please sign this document, and we will send it to the Institute of Statistics whenever we have the elections. Or they could tell you, no, sorry, come from the 1st of December because the time is then. What
Right.
happens the 1st of December? You have given a good example. You have gone there and they have told you, come back tomorrow. We, the Spaniards, have been well known for the phrase, come back tomorrow, not today. You may have been lucky and they may have allowed you to sign that piece of paper, but the process should be very clear. If you are empadronado in Spain and you are either from the European Union, either from Norway or the United Kingdom, or from any of the other 12 countries that we have agreement from, which includes South Korea, by the
Yeah.
way, very well known by us, Cabo Verde, in some other country, please sign this form. That's very easy, very simple. And the town hall could send all those forms together in January or in February, whenever the time to register finishes, time enough to be included in the list for the elections at the end of
Yeah.
May. That is very easy, that is very simple, and that is not happening. And we wonder why.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I always find these days, maybe it's because I'm a councillor, but I find civil servants in the various town halls. I always find them extremely helpful. And, they really were just shaking their heads and saying, look, we don't know what to do here. We're waiting on instructions. I spoke to the secretary of the council, or the pleno, last Friday, when we were up at a meeting, and he said they have asked INE for the list of the people that are uh, qualified to register, and nothing has happened. So I don't know what's happening, Mario.
That's what I said. If you don't know who has been living here more than 3 years, you can either check the padrón and consider that the Brits that have been living here more than 3 years are qualified, or the town hall can even ignore that and simply say, all right, you sign this paper and we are sending this to the INE.
Yeah.
If the INE that has access to other sources knows that you have been resident, you will be able to vote. If not, you will not.
Yeah.
But this 3 years request only applies for Norwegian or for British.
Yes.
German, Portuguese, French, or Italian, or any other from the European Union do not need to be registered for more than 3 years to
Sure.
be able to participate in the elections.
But Mario, it should be very simple, because I have a 10-year TIE. Now, I don't get a 10-year TIE unless I have been resident for more than 5 years. So everyone with a permanent TIE has been resident here for more than 3 years, or more than 5 years. Even people that haven't changed over to the TIE and still have the green residency, either the card or the A4 sheet, it says how long they have been, when the residency was confirmed. I don't think it should be so complicated, but I just get concerned that people will just if they're told, "Oh, you can't do this yet, you can't do it," and they're going down, that they'll get bored and just say, "Oh, forget it."
Bill, you have been using your common sense.
Mm,
We cannot expect that to be very common,
all right.
unfortunately,
Okay.
because we don't think this process is so difficult. In fact, foreigners already in the padron with the nationality of those countries should be able to vote. As
Yeah.
simply as that. We
Yes.
will save thousands of hours of civil servants and thousands of hours of the people who live in Spain queuing if we
Yes.
simply adopt that decision. That's all. So
Yeah.
if you are empadronado in Spain, then you can vote in the local elections. End of the story. End
Yeah.
of the list of instructions. End of the list of unfinishing forms to fill in once and again your name, your surname, the name of your father, your mother, the name of your dog. Not
Yeah. Yeah.
necessary. It is
Sure.
very simple. We should do things simple. And civil servants should be spending their time paying the invoices in the town hall, organizing the contracts, and important things, not simply filling in papers that will take us nowhere.
Yeah.
That is the fight that we all have to command in Spain.
Yeah. Mario, thank you so much for joining me again this evening
You're
and for
welcome.
filling us in on what's been happening around Mijas. Uh, we'll be back. It looks like it's going to be the 29th of December, just before the new year. And let's hope we have some good news to bring. But I'm not optimistic.
It is very likely that the monthly meeting will be the 28th of December,
Yeah.
which is the Spanish equivalent to the 1st of April, the Fool's Day.
Oh, right. Yes, it's like the Fool's Day. Yeah.
So if it is the 28th, we will be celebrating the Fool's Day in the town hall, and the 29th, we will be explaining everything here in this program.
Mario, thank you so much. Thanks to those of you who have been joining us and listening in today. It's almost a weekend, so have a good one when it comes. And we'll be back next Thursday at 7 o'clock. Take care, everyone. Many thanks.
Thank you. Goodbye.